Hey, it's Steve. Time for part 2 of our jig seminar. That's right. We're going to talk about swim jigs. We're going to talk about sizes, skirt color options, trailers, and a few little tweaks here and there. So here we go. Swim jigs. I use 2 sizes. Every now and then I'll use a 1/2 ounce, but it's basically 2 sizes, a 1/4 and 3/8. 1/4 ounce swim jig is absolutely fantastic for when you want to keep it up near the surface. You can fish it a little bit slower. It doesn't matter whether you're doing the Alabama shake or whether you're just straight reeling it, giving it a little pump now and then. It fishes so good when you have grass coming to within a few inches of the top, or you're fishing through some kind of emergent grass like willow grass or stuff like that. Now, here's where we get to the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. The trailer. The trailer that you put on your swim jig. I basically only use 2 types of trailers. Now, as you can see, we've got a swim bait trailer. 3.75 Strike King swim bait. The other one that I use a lot is this guy. It's a little Zoom Z-Craw Jr. When will I use the 2? Well, the difference between these for me is the water depth that I'm fishing. If I'm fishing shallow and I'm using a 1/4 or even a 3/8, something like this Z-Craw Jr. will keep it up near the top. Very much easier because it's got a broad profile. It kind of helps plane it up in the air. If I'm fishing and I want the bait to stay down in the water column a little bit, it's a swim bait. Now, basically fishing 3 colors. Some form of black, some form of green pumpkin, some form of white. And this one's got a little tinsely stuff in it, which gives you a little bit of flash. How do I decide which one? Well, let's just say that if it's a shad lake, if I'm in a shad lake, and I think that, well, you know, maybe there's a herring spawn going on, a shad spawn, something like that, where the bass are just super keyed into shads. Or if I thought to myself, you know, now would be a good time to fish a white spinnerbait. That's what I'll use. I'll use white. If you have 2 to 3.5 foot visibility, maybe even 4, some sort of green pumpkin. And if the water's less than 2 feet of visibility, some form of black. Now, on an overcast day, a lot of times I'll usually pick that black, even if the water's a hair on the clearer side. Now, there's definitely a trailer that I've left out. Okay, everybody's sitting on their hands right now going, oh, you left out the best trailer in the world. For me, it's not the best trailer in the world. For me, fish have to be pretty hyped up to want to come out and eat it with a rage craw. Now, rage craw gives you the most action. But then again, you need hyped up fish. You need super warm water fish, not hot water fish, because then fish will be the opposite. They'll actually act more like they do in cold water. But you need nice warm water frisky fish to eat the rage craw. So yeah, I didn't forget it. Now, one of the things I'm going to point out to you is most of these guys come with a skirt that's very full. Now, it does not hurt for you to thin this skirt out a little bit. If you took half the strands away from this skirt, you will have a modified jig that does something that a lot of other jigs don't do quite as good, especially with the swim bait. You see, what happens is all these strands kind of stabilize the jig. The less strands in the skirt, the more you're going to have roll to this jig, just like a regular swim bait. So you could take some of the strands away, and a lot of times the fish do that for you while you're in the course of the day, and your swim jig will be half naked and you'll be catching them great on it. You could also get rid of the skirt completely and just fish the swim bait. That way you've got an exposed hook. It's not Texas rigged, so you won't miss as many fish. And basically you're still fishing a swim bait. Now, something you have to look out for is the weed guards. Notice the weed guard on this bait is very close to the hook. It's also a very, very light weed guard. This is one of the few weed guards that I would say, you know what, I'm not cutting this down at all because it's a very soft weed guard. Now, what brand is it? It is no brand. I have a friend that makes them. It is what it is. Also notice that the hook is not a super heavy wire hook. You can fish this on 15, max 20. But if you get a really, really big fish, you don't want to have the drag button down. So what if I'm in Florida? What if I'm somewhere where there's some big fish in Texas or wherever I go? Well, I could really recommend that Hack Attack swim jig with the heavy hook. Big stout hook. Or the other one that I use would be the Dirty Jigs No Jack. That's right, the No Jack Dirty Jigs hook is a bad mofo. Also, you want to make sure that your weed guard is in line with the hook. That way, it's actually a weed guard. Also, just like we talked about fishing open bottom, okay? Open bottom. You can take and get rid of that weed guard if you're just free swimming it or just around grass, especially if it's sparse. Get rid of the weed guard. Lose a lot less fish. So just to recap, I basically used 2 trailers, Zoom Sea Craw Jr., and the Strike King swim bait trailer, Rage Swimmer, whatever it's called. Colors pretty much match the jigs. Go with colors like green pumpkins, blues, whites, stuff like that. Blacks, Blackwood's flakes. And again, if you really like the Rage Craw, wait till the water gets nice and warm and you'll catch plenty of fish using a Rage Craw. Now, there's also what I consider a micro swim jig. I'm going to get in trouble for this one. Okay, micro swim jig. Just like a micro jig, you have a little teeny tiny jig head. Here we go. Something in a green pumpkin. Again, very sparse, super sparse skirt. And then I'll take one of 2 trailers. I'll either take little Kitech Easy Swimmer or this guy, which I've really been fond of, the 2.8 Power Bait Swimmer. Now this guy comes in a color called Sun Perch, which I really like because I'm trying to stay a little more natural because, frankly, I'm only going to throw this in relatively clear water and again on a spinning rod. It gives you, nice light wire hook, it gives you a bait that a lot of people are not throwing and the fish are not seeing. And that makes a big difference these days. Hey, that's Swim Jigs. I'm Steve. Next time, flipping, pitching, heavy line jigs.